Here's a holiday fact. The average trucker delivers more joy in a week than Santa does in a lifetime. Take that to the North Pole. Howdy ho, and welcome to another episode of Trucking Frontlines. Hopefully, after a fulfilling and satisfying Thanksgiving holiday. Let's spend this show proving me wrong that there's more joy in trucking than ever. We are broadcasting today from inside the Truckin' City Central Command, located right here in North Carolina, having more fun than any news show host is allowed to have ever on YouTube. Boss Man here, a 13-year veteran of the trucking industry, single-handedly pointing out to you guys it is always possible to make trucking great again. Doing so with a skill granted by God Himself to communicate, make you laugh, entertain you, and give you faith back in broadcast talent. We're diving today headlong into stories that we will learn from. You will no doubt be entertained from. With the latest on prime alliances, recent in headlines, to the most recent reports on massive layoffs affecting other parts of LTL and the union-based trucking, we're here to make sense of it all. But that's only part of it. Today, I want to dive into a side of trucking that not a lot of people really like to make a lot of sense out of. So stick around. We're going to talk about brokers and shippers, and we're going to talk about the back end of trucking that I think everybody here can benefit from and probably see a little bit of sense in. But scanning the headlines is a couple of things I want to make you guys aware of and kind of make the holidays a little bit lighter and a little bit brighter, okay? Making the holidays a little bit more special is pretty important to me, and it's a good way to want to start out just by giving you guys a sense of, well, there's more to trucking than just the attitude of giving. It's actually creating an environment where people actually feel welcome. It started on Thanksgiving with this.
Some started their holiday with a sweat. Others are simply enjoying a good meal, like the CDL drivers at the annual Truckers Stage Stop Thanksgiving dinner. The truck stop gives out a free Thanksgiving meal to truck drivers who have to be away from their families on Thanksgiving. The serving supervisor at Stage Stop, Connie Gepner, said the drivers are more than just customers, they've become family.
Well, a lot of them that come in here, even customers and CDL drivers, are like family. They start coming in, you get to know them, you know them first name. They appreciate us and we appreciate them.
A wonderful tradition. And they told us Stage Stop has been hosting the Truckers Thanksgiving dinner for at least 30 years.
Hopefully that went through a lot clearer on your end than it did on mine. Well, ladies and gentlemen, picture this. The chill of 29-degree weather, snow blanketing Ohio's first settlement, and the streets of the Martins Ferry alive with the magic of their annual Christmas parade. Yet another headline, sponsored by Unified Bank, where CEO Scott Everson was lauded for steadfast support of his parade. He saw roughly having 100 participants, including fire departments from both sides of the valley. The Intelligencer reports, and I'll have this link below as well, the route wound through the Purple City, ending at the park where the community pride and spirit were on full display. It's a certainly welcoming open to a holiday weekend. We all need to at least be festive and alert, and this definitely sets you in that mood. So be sure to check that link below for more on holidays in West Virginia. Certainly wanted to bring that one to your attention. It is certainly an eye-opener, to say the least. Well, I want to start the show off on a good, positive note. So let's begin with the best that Truckin' Frontlines has to offer.
Shall we begin?
From Truckin' City Central Command, you are on the front lines. Trucking news.
The semi-truck driver accused of causing that deadly crash on Highway 285 this week, now under arrest.
Cutting edge opinion. and we will make trucking great again. Built for truckers.
You should be hauling that freight based on what works for you.
By truckers.
Remember, get them done.
Featuring
I think trucking is a very good career.
And I am gonna beat him.
I'm gonna beat him too.
We don't do it just for us and our families. We do it for you guys.
Remember, truckers are people too.
hosted by the El Rushbo of Trucking News, Boss Man. Eight 785-3547. That's the line you can call to be part of today's show. Also, go ahead and email us at, as I get rid of the window, that's truckingnews@outlook.com. That's truckingnews@outlook.com. Greetings, truck lovers. We are coming to you tonight with a different side of trucking. We want you guys to be aware of just what it is to be part of a movement to make trucking great again. So give us a call today on our studio. Become part of the show. We certainly welcome you guys to this show. So let's bring in people. Let me make sure I got my screens right because I got several things going on here. We have stuff all over the place. Give me a moment because I have that one show start. That one's done. Every time I get into my home screen, I always get messed up. So I want to keep things in order and can't do it. Okay, here we are. So you've just tuned into Trucking Frontlines, where the road meets reality. And as the holiday season shifts into gear, we're asking a question that cuts to the core of what keeps this country moving. Is trucking the real Santa Claus of the season? Think about it. From stocking the shelves to your local store, delivering the dreams we unwrap on Christmas morning. Trucking is the silent hero behind every success story. Don't just take my word for it. You, everybody watching, are the heartbeat of the conversation. Drivers, families, industry insiders, every one of you watching tonight, call in, comment, share on your stories. Let's talk about the sacrifices, the profits, and yes, even the chaos that comes with keeping America merry and bright during the holidays. See, it doesn't just go on out there on the streets. I've got my own chaos going on here too. I lose screens, I move things. It happens to everybody. So let me hear about your chaos. Let me hear what it's like for you on the roads. 860-785-3547. We are live. We are talking, and we want to hear from you in the chat. So jump in, give us a thought, give us a line. Let's talk about it. And today we're diving straight into the heart of an issue that doesn't just matter to truckers, but it matters to every single American who wants to see their holiday dreams come true. I'm talking about the intricate dance, the partnership between truckers, shippers, and those infamous freight brokers. Yeah, we hear about it all the time. We see it on the news. We see everybody talk about it. Just don't tune it out because, yeah, it isn't just shop talk for everybody out here. This, my friends, is about ensuring that the goods your family counts on, the Christmas presents, the holiday meals, the very things that wind up on your table, arrive on time. Well, let me tell you something. It's you and me that do the driving, okay? But is it just us that's the real Santa Claus? Or are there other parts of the equation we're forgetting about? That's the purpose of tonight's show. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about freight brokers for just a moment. Now, I know some of you out there might say, well, why do they even matter? Aren't they just middleman skimming profit? Yeah, I'll admit they often get the bad rap. And here's the thing, though. Brokers can be a bridge or they can be a barrier. When done right, they connect us, the hardworking heroes on the road, with the shippers and the customers who desperately need goods moved. It's a relationship that works when trust is the currency of choice. But what happens when that trust is missing? What happens when things are awry? Well, that's where the FMCSA has recently proposed rules on broker transparency. That's when that comes into play. So let's break it down. Right now, truckers are left guessing at what the broker is pocketing from a load. Some say it matters, others say who gives a damn. The Owner Operators Independent Drivers Association and Small Business in Transportation Coalition said enough's enough. They want brokers to provide transaction details within 48 hours. They want to push for visibility, stirring up quite a hornet's nest. So here's the rub. Transparency isn't about meddling. It's about fairness. That's their take. If brokers are itemizing, charging fees, and doing all kinds of stuff on the back end, truckers can finally see if they're getting their fair share of the pie. It's the difference between a partnership built on respect and a system that leaves truckers in the dark. And if truckers are left in the dark, well, folks, are we really leaving something off the table here? I want to introduce something I'd like to call the golden triangle. Truckers, shippers, and brokers. Now let's zoom in and out, look at the bigger picture here. When truckers and shippers and brokers work together as partners, we all win. Truckers get fair compensation for their grueling hours and sleepless nights. Shippers get their goods delivered efficiently, and brokers are in their keep without eroding trust. But partnership isn't just a feel-good buzzword. It's the it's a backbone of a thriving economy and a successful holiday looking forward. The holidays, folks, are just a logistical symphony. Every package, every turkey, every shiny toy under the tree depends on what truckers showing up do when it matters most, when brokers call and shippers produce. It's quite simple. Everybody plays their part. So here's the million-dollar question I want to pose and I want to talk about on tonight's live. For all of us here, how do we really make trucking great again? First, we demand transparency. Yes, we go along with the chosen narrative, but because sunlight is the best affection or disinfectant, we cultivate partnerships, real honest partnerships where truckers are respected as the backbone of the economy that we are. And finally, spread the word. Truckers aren't just cogs in the machine. We are the machine itself. We keep America moving. I want to know from you in the audience, is this broker transparency thing everything it's procured itself to be? Is it really necessary? Or is there more to the backside of this conversation that we as an industry should be doing to make trucking great again? So bring up the panelists, start one by one. Let's have a conversation and let's see what America thinks. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. My man, tell me, what do you think? Do you think there's more to it, or do you think we're kind of hitting a pinnacle of too much too quick? What do you think?
Honestly, I mean, everybody's got to work together, as everybody knows, due to the factor that, you know, us drivers, we're out here, we're having to deliver the goods. The brokers are the ones finding the loads for us. And then, of course, we got our shippers and our receivers that need the goods moved. So we've all got to get along. We've all got to work together. If you don't work together, then you're never going to get anything moved.
Well, very true. But at the same time, I mean, there is a delineation with, what are you making versus what I'm making? I mean, do you really care what your boss does as long as you get your paycheck?
To an extent, yeah, but what can I do about it? I mean, I can't go off and tell him, hey, this is not working this way. I need it done this way, because he's liable to just laugh at me. I can suggest and talk to him, and he might do something, but I'm just not going to go off and say, yeah, this is how it's got to be, because they're going to laugh at me.
Well, everybody's different, and we've got three other panelists, and we have a caller on the line. So let's get the caller's perspective. A frequent flyer by the means, by the way. Griff, welcome to the show. Glad to have you calling us tonight.
How you guys all doing?
We are doing great. We've got only a few of the panelists, so if you want to hang tight, we'll bring them up, get their perspective, and welcome yours at the same time. So let me go ahead and bring them up one by one. Just bear with me, Griff. You can hang tight, certainly.
We'll do.
Thumper, what say you on this whole issue of what brokers know and what they don't? What say you on this whole matter?
I've said it before. Brokers are there to get your foot in the door.
Yeah.
You gotta get those contracts. If you're not gonna make it if you go from the load board all the time. I mean, that's simple as that. The brokers are a tool to help you get a contract or anything like that. I don't deal with brokers, so I have contracts on the grain side. I have contracts on the cattle side, but I have used brokers to get my foot in the door, and that's what got me these contracts. So
that's it.
Honestly, anything with my line of work, whatever broke you from here on out, it does not faze me. I do not care. It doesn't bother me. They could they could have the winning lottery ticket, and I don't care. I have my contracts, and that's that. So that's I'm gonna keep preaching that every time we bring this topic up about brokers. They're just a tool to help you get your foot in the door to get a contract.
And that was part of the second part of my opening. I don't know if you sense I put it up in two parts. There's always somebody on each side of every argument, so I'm looking to capture both sides of those arguments tonight. So stand by with me. Got one more audience member in the background. Larry, what say you on this whole idea? I mean, do you think that broker transparency necessarily is a step forward, or do you think it risks over regulating an industry that basically thrives on being left alone? What say you on that?
I'm not really sure right now. I didn't deal with brokers that much.
Well, they do, and I don't think they're not forced to push the issue unless they're probed for it. You know, it's just like I opened the whole thing with, you know, there are a number of provisions currently in everything right now that sets it up for, you know, if somebody wants to know, they've got 48 hours, you know, so it's not really a big deal currently. But let's get to the caller. Griff, what do you say in the whole issue of broker transparency? Does that really does that become an issue with you or no?
Well, it would be nice to know what the actual loads are getting paid at. The brokers are entitled to keep a little bit since they are doing the legwork for getting the loads. But there's another way you look at it. It also helps cut down on double brokering. If you can request to see the Raycon stuff and everything because there are some brokerages out there that'll get it from another. It will say if you see a load out on the load board for $3 a mile,
right?
Another brokerage could call them and get it, then they'll put it up on the board for like say $2 a mile.
Mm-hmm.
So when it gets done, so it's like okay, say if the average freight is around $4 directly from the customer stuff. The first brokerage is getting $1, the second one's getting $1, but the driver's getting $2, but the driver's also having to pay for everything else that comes up on it. If it's got permits and all this other stuff that, you know, the other little add-on fees and everything. I don't know about everything about brokerage stuff, but I think it could probably help on trying to cut down on the double brokering stuff and everything. If you can see the actual Raycon from the shipper to the broker, and they basically show you what they're getting, what's paying. You know, if it's getting like $250 for, you know, how much, however much is for the fuel surcharge and everything stuff, so where you can kind of see what's going on with it.
Right.
But I think it'd be it's a kind of a good idea to help try to cut down on double brokering stuff in terms of going out there and stuff, and you got this one fly-by-night brokerage that's just going out and getting it, the stuff, and you go do it and you don't even get paid for it because they're trying to do it for another brokerage or whatever.
I will acknowledge, I will acknowledge, and this is just a broadcaster side of me talking. I will acknowledge that broker fraud is an issue, and we do need to thin the herd. Okay, I actually used the term cull the herd of the many brokers that are out there in the field. There are a great number of you brokers. Yes, I'm looking directly at you brokers. There are a great number of you that do not have the industry in mind. To those individuals, I say, be gone with you. Everything the FMCSA is doing to get rid of you, I applaud it. I support it. And to the point the caller just made, bless you. Don't confuse that, however, with what you've just said, and that is broker transparency is not going to do anything to affect that. All right. Broker transparency is just a tool. Here are my thoughts on this. Broker transparency is nothing more than a tool to make the shippers and the drivers feel good. It does absolutely nothing for the actual mechanism of cleaning up the industry. Okay?
True.
Because when you start and when you end, I don't know how long you've been in this, and I know somebody I just brought in who just joins us again will probably back me up on this, but when you start and when you finish with any transaction, how much information do you want the general public to know about what you make? Broker transparency. Well, broker transparency only helps people feel good. It does absolutely nothing for the numbers. All right. Yeah. So I only half agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, but like I said, it could help out on the double brokering in terms of the transparency. If you force that, if you get it, you know.
I don't. Anybody disagree with that? I can't say go ahead, Fate. Fate. Go ahead. Griff, hold on. Fate, you disagree with that?
100%. Okay. Broker transparency has nothing to do with double brokering. Mm-hmm. Broker transparency is a tool that crybabies need, failing owner operators need. I'm just being honest with you. I am sorry. I am not trying to be rude. I understand that's what people are going to do. Everybody is so damn worried about what somebody else makes that it's sickening. They are not taking now I will say this. You made a comment earlier about doing things to get the bad brokers out of the industry. You're 100% right on that. That needs to happen. But let's be clear about something. There are far more carriers that are fraudulent in this industry than there are brokerages. We need to be honest about that first.
Yes. Fully agree with that.
This reality of you thinking you are entitled to see the information that a salesman has set up with a shipper or receiver is absolutely ludicrous. They are without the brokers, you don't haul freight. Exactly. The reality is most people do not want to go out and get their direct customers. They don't even know how to talk to customers. They don't even know how to talk to a damn broker to get a load that works for them. And they want to know what that broker is making. How long? Sorry, I'm pissed off at this.
You're triggered. I could tell.
How long before some law is introduced that requires you to show your profit margin on that load?
Yeah.
Because
which is
your
why I brought it
numbers
up the way I did, because that's where it's going if they keep continuing to do this. And I rue that day. I really do. So keep going.
Listen, I'm sorry. I'm extremely pissed off because we shouldn't even be having this conversation, guys. We need to focus on what we can do as owner operators, as business owners, as trucking as a whole.
Yes.
To make things work for you as an individual. Stop worrying about freaking everybody else.
Exactly.
Stop it. It gets you nowhere.
Look at the comment below. Shannon Thomas Trucking. My brokers are my sales team of my business. I mean, the more we look at what business can do for us, and likewise what we can give in return, the more things become better for us to do exactly what the mission of the channel is, and that's make trucking great again. Let's stop worrying about everybody else. Let's worry about ourselves. You know, I've got an expression in front of me. Hold on one second, Griff. Partners or pawns. You know, think about it. Do brokers treat truckers like partners in the supply chain, or do they treat us like pawns in an expendable game of hide and seek? Think about that. How many of us actually put together the pieces of the puzzle in a way that pretty much nullifies this whole argument of broker transparency? Anyone, I don't care who, just speak your mind. Griff, you had it. I mean, go ahead.
All I was going to say is I probably had a lot of bad experiences because with the particular brokerage I worked with most of the time for the last 2 years, I've seen some of the state shady stuff they did stuff. So that's where a lot of my point of view and everything. That's why I was going on about it could probably help out with the double brokering and everything.
Right.
But if it's like Bait has a lot of good assets stuff and everything because he even did a YouTube video stuff where he went to the in-house brokerage that he has contact with to help him find a load. It didn't quite work out for him if I remember right, but that helps out. And I know for a fact though that the brokerage that he works with and everything on that part is a very reputable stuff and tries very hard and does everything to the T stuff and is a great example on way he is looking at it and everything.
Right.
But like I said, I just had some bad experience. I know some of them that I've dealt with and I've talked to them personally stuff on how they've been doing this. I've seen where they will skim a little bit more off of there and make it harder for an owner operator to be able to do the loads that make a profit stuff. They're more or less delivering it for free because the only thing they're actually making is for fuel.
I'm going to say one thing. I'm going to say one thing. I'm going to let Freight chime in because I know he's probably got a response to you. My question to you, Griff, is this, and it's probably the same thing he's going to ask. What choice do you have? With every single one of these things you just brought up, what choice do you have? You're presented no, wait a minute. You're presented with a rate con every single time. You're given a choice to take the load, sign the rate con, and return it, or move on and look for another load. What do you do?
I think the reason why where I'm coming from is the brokerage I work for. I was working as one of their power units for that particular brokerage.
Right.
The trucking side was separate from it, but we got a lot of our loads through them stuff. But I was actually got to be able to see their part and see on how everything is going. And I'm not. And sorry, Bait, I'm not meaning to upset you by going on about this right now.
No, he ain't. He ain't upset at you. No. The whole discussion, I think, and I'm going to let him speak for himself, but I think the whole discussion really is becoming old news real fast. So, Bait, go ahead and wrap it up, buddy. Go ahead and tell us what you think.
Well, it's super old news. I ask anybody that believes in broker transparency, not like Griff, not picking on you. I implore you to go.
Repeat that because your incoming call cut. Your incoming call cut out. So,
okay. If it's so easy and they are making all the money, why are we driving the truck? Like I happen to work. I don't want to share. I know two brokers that I am legit friends with, that I legit sit in their office when they post loads. I have seen them post loads where they are making $10 on that load. Right? Now, I'm not saying that's every broker. I understand some profit margins could be astronomical. you don't have to take the load, Griff. If you're taking a load just for fuel, don't take the damn load. It's cheaper to deadhead. It's cheaper not to move your truck. Like you don't need to do anything you don't want to do. The minute we start learning that.
Yep.
I agree with you. I do now, but like I'm saying though, before for the last couple of years that I have been driving though, I have been dealing with that because was working for a small carrier that was attached to that, and it's a long story at another point stuff on a point of view of the industry I kind of had. I'm not saying it's exact or whatever, but right now I'm doing a lot better as an owner operator carrier signed on to another company, and I've been doing a lot better. I've been seeing the way it's supposed to be done and everything, and I've also watched different aspects from over the last couple of years on Fate. So a lot of the time stuff.
We all have
and everything.
Yeah,
but
not to
I
cut.
got to see everything in general, but long story short, stuff. I'm doing a lot better now, and I don't even deal with that particular company. If they want me to do something for them, I will tell them an astronomical price, and I want the money up front before I would do something for them.
Amen to that.
Because I've not gotten paid from them, but it's like business is business.
Fate apparently had to take a call because he dropped off. He'll be back momentarily. Griff, I appreciate your call. We're going to continue on with this whole thing. From this point out, though, based on your call, Fate, or your call, Griff, and those still in the audience, I want to make sure everybody learns from this call. You know what? Choices are all yours, my friend. It really comes down to the choices you make. If you feel like you're in a place where you have no choice, you need to look at yourself. You need to analyze your situation, and you need to put yourself in a place where you do have choice. Because just like Shannon Truckin, she says, I disagree with broker transparency. It goes against the entire process of free market business. I think like that girl does, and I say it's not everything the media is putting it out to be. And Griff, hang tight, because maybe you'll learn something from this, and you can call us back anytime if you have something you want us to learn. We're all here for that same process.
Useful tool at some point though too, you know, but it's the way they want to do it. Stuff is probably not the best way to do it. Well, I have to agree with everybody.
Like everything else
on this,
like everything else, the way I open this show, it can also be subject to overreach. So let's not get ahead of ourselves, and let's not bite ourselves in the butt before it even has a chance to unfold. Griff, thanks for the call. I'm going to free the lines up so anybody else can give us a call.
Hopefully everybody had a good Thanksgiving stuff, and you guys have a good evening.
We hope the same for you, my friend, because you know what? It's people like you that keep this show going. God bless, be safe, and keep her rolling, my friend. You know what? I mean, you got other thoughts, you disagree, you have a difference of opinion, give us a call here. 785-3547, 860-785-3547. We welcome your input on this important topic, because we are all about making trucking great again. Grumpy, when it comes down to it, I mean, a fair shake, a fair debate. I mean, should we really have, I mean, should it really be necessary that we know exactly what they earn? I mean, shouldn't we be more concerned about what's going on with us and just let this whole thing go? What's your take on this, Grump?
It would be nice to know, but is it any of our business? No, it's not, because it's just like your paycheck, my paycheck, Larry's paycheck, Thumper's paycheck, any other driver's paycheck, or brokers, or anybody that works anywhere else. It's no one's business unless we want to share it, because a lot of times if you work, just example here, if you work at a place, say, we'll use Walmart for an example, and one Walmart employee is making more than you, and that person shares how much they're making, and you've been there longer, aren't you going to get upset? Yeah, I know I will. You know, and I want to touch on this. This is still part of the brokerage thing, but at the same time, it's a little offbeat a little bit, but it's going to be something that's interesting. You know, the factor of it is, my company basically that I work for, we do most of all our own brokerages because he used to be a broker and still does his own stuff. Well, whenever you send a driver out to pick up a load and you deliver to the receiver, but you have no idea where you're sending this to, they should find out and do a little bit of investigating before they send a driver with a big truck to it, because a lot of these places we go, just we should not be. So I think that's something that needs to be touched on, because a lot of brokers do that too. Because actually, John was actually talking to me about some places he goes and delivers that our big trucks don't belong there. You know, so yeah, that's something they need to look at and take advice from us.
Well, I think goes outside the broker transparency discussion. Grumpy, take a minute and look at the comment on your screen and give that person some clarity. I mean, because I think they're talking to you. Said, yo, WSG, I watched your states video and I wanted to ask when you were going to your next state. I don't know what that means, but maybe
Well,
you do.
Colton, I'll let you know right now. I've got those few states that I didn't go to. I mean, I know the song didn't have a lot. It was missing a few. I didn't make the song, but I've been to 47 out of 50, and I'm so happy to have you as one of my subscribers. Glad you came to our live. Subscribe to my good friend, Boss Man, Trucking City Media as well. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I pretty much run most of the Midwestern states nowadays, but I haven't ever been to Maine, but it is on my list. One day I will visit Maine. One day I'll go to Hawaii. One day I'll also go to Alaska. But I really need help from all of my subscribers to make that possible. Thank you. Now back to you, Boss Man.
Hey, yeah, right. You know, I'll give you everybody the limelight as long as it needs. The price of delivering America. Let me ask you, Thumper, when it comes down to truckers playing such a critical role delivering goods, what would fair compensation look like for our efforts? Put this whole discussion aside from what you want to offer, because I had seen you with your hand up a minute ago. What would something like this have to look like to be recognized for our efforts? What do you think in regards to that?
All right, repeat your question one more time.
When it comes to playing a critical role in delivering goods and doing the job we do, what would fair compensation look like for the things we do out here? How could we more or less even that argument out to make it look like it's better for us without having to go the route of broker transparency? I stumped him. I stumped him.
Yeah, you stumped me on that one, and I'm
all right. Well, let's start with what you wanted to offer. You had your hand up for a reason, so give us your thoughts.
Yeah. So the broker like I said, you know where I feel of brokers.
I know.
That.
I know. I'm trying to steer you away because I know you think about that. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I know. But this is gonna kind of steer it away.
Okay.
You want to make trucking great again. All right. You guys want rates and everything to go up. Okay. Truck is like a normal 9-to-5 job. The better you're at it, the more you're going to get paid. The more skills you have, the more you get paid. So you guys want to keep bitching about money, pardon my language, but you guys want to keep bitching about money and not getting paid enough, specialize in something. Seriously.
There you go. There you go.
Specialize in something, you have a skill, you're gonna make more money. Simple as that.
Yeah.
That's what I've been wanting to say for a while.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because I mean, what we're looking at in the next 3 to 5 weeks is a perfect opportunity to let what you just said be the word of the day. I mean, because when you think about it,
I must be doing it all wrong then. 24 plus years out here. I don't receive what I deserve in pay. I show my best. I do my best, but hey, I must be doing it all wrong. I need some advice. Come on.
Well, you also got to remember.
Your tagline says it all, Grumpy.
I mean, in your situation, you know, you and I have had a conversation about this behind the scenes on the phone and stuff like this. You gave up a gooder paying job, or a better paying job, to go back to the company that you work for because they treated you better.
Mhm.
You know, so I mean, you got to pick and choose your battles. I mean, if you want to sit there and complain about money, go work for a company that'll pay you a lot more but treat you like crap, or take a little bit of a pay cut and go work for somebody who kind of treats you like family. That's kind of the way I see it.
That's kind of what I was wanting to get out of you there, Thumper. I already knew the answer, but you know, it's the factor of it is I work for a small carrier, and you're not just a darn number to them. You go there, you're usually checking in and out of there once a week, if not a couple times a week. Everybody knows you there. Sooner or later, after you're there, within a month, they know you. You know, so I mean, you go to work for a mega carrier, no one's going to know you. You're just a number. That's it. That's all they know you by. Been there, done that. It's not worth it.
Even as an owner operator, because I know there's going to start, you know, people are going to fucking start typing and saying, well, I'm an owner operator. That doesn't work for me. Okay. Well, that goes back to my statement that I said at the beginning of the show. Brokers are there to get you the contract so you get the better paying contract, the better paying loads. So it's not really the broker's fault that they got to make a living too, but they're a tool for us to use to benefit us to make more money.
Right. And the way I look at that is the brokers are similar to basically working as a company driver. If you're an owner op and you're working through a brokerage, that brokerage is kind of similar. Just, you know, it's not the same, but it's similar to working as a company driver, because they're the ones getting you loads. They're the ones keeping you running. It's your choice on what loads you want to take, you know, what it pays and all that. But, you know, it is what it is on that. Do you agree?
You know, yeah, I totally agree. I mean, Larry, you're not an old. I know you're Mr. Squeaky Voice tonight, but
I'm trying not to pick on him because I know of his
I know,
weakness.
but,
I wasn't going to
we're
highlight
having
it.
this conversation. He went.
You want some French fried taters, friend?
But you went from owner. You went from a lease purchase to a company driver. Are you a lot happier?
Well, Grumpy answer the question. If you're a company driver, are you a lot happier?
I'll be honest with you. I've done lease purchase. I've never been an actual owner operator because I was too scared to, you know, do that and wind up losing my rear on it. But I have done lease purchase, which is usually a walk away. So that way I owe nothing, don't have no trouble, don't worry about nothing. Out of all the things I've done in 24 plus years, yes, I could say I'd rather be right now a company driver because of a lot of deals with, you know, taking care of family things when I need to, and, you know, being available when I'm needing to be. Because as a company driver, I can say, okay, I'm sorry, I've got to take care of family issues. Here's a truck back. I'll come back to you folks as soon as I get this taken care of. As an owner operator, you can't really do that unless you can afford that payment.
That's your freedom and that's your privilege. You have an opportunity before you to do that. I applaud you for that. You know, but I mean, think about it. I mean, there's 3.5 million drivers licensed in this country to do the very job you and I both do. Not every one of them has your circumstance. Some people are like Thumper. Some people are like Larry. Others are like me, you know, and others are like Mother Trucker. Others are like Fate. We got another fellow that usually joins us, by the way. If you're not privy to it, if you're not part of the usual cast and crew, there's another fellow. It's my co-host, Driving with John. Certainly take a moment, look him up, wish him well, because he's usually here, but apparently he's busy tonight. So nothing serious. I'm just picking on him.
It's a holiday.
But I mean, right? Yeah, it's a holiday, so we're gonna have a little bit of weird in and out interaction going through the holidays. So some of us ain't here, forgive us. But more to my point, I mean, not everybody has the same setup. You know, you are set up the way you are, Grumpy, and that works for you. But what works for you may not always work for the guy next to you. So,
Right.
you know, mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality is great for you. For me, I want to fix what needs fixing before it gets to the point where if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't know if you follow me on that one. So,
well, then if you're wanting to fix something, that means it must be broken.
That depends on who you're asking. Are you asking a mechanic or are you asking the driver? Next question. Is government regulation too much? I mean, should we just leave this crap alone? I mean, that's my honest overall question. Larry, you've been quiet. What do you think? Simple, squeaky, yes or no? Do you think it's too much or too little?
Leave it alone.
Leave it alone. I'm going to tell you what. I just gained 2 viewers because of that squeak. Congratulations. Keep it up. Anyway.
No, leave it alone. If it's
Hey,
yeah.
Hey, Larry, I know what's wrong with it. Ain't got no gas in it.
You guys are too
so funny. He's got 3 loads tonight from St. Ange to Harry in South Dakota, and he's gonna go play in the cold.
And he's probably going to lean on you to make all of his phone calls. I'll tell you what. Yeah, that's going to be a pain in the butt. Guys, if you want to contribute to tonight's show, give us a call, 860-785-3547. We'll be on for about another 15 or 20 minutes. We welcome your input on this whole issue of broker transparency. We are trying one issue at a time to make trucking great again, and we value your input and everything you have to say.
I want to say something too, boss man. That number you've got available there, it's not just also what we're having on topic. That's what it's preferred for. But if they've got any individual questions to ask a truck driver out here that needs to be answered because they've never, known, feel free. Call that number. We'll be glad to give you an answer. It may not be the answer you want or looking for, but we'll give you an answer.
Check out 7C. Grumpy says that's back. He says that's backwards. I don't know what he's talking about, whether it's Grumpy you were talking to earlier.
So on this panel right now, we have little over 75 years of experience here, and we are in all different types of freight here. So yeah, we're
you're doing your math all wrong. We got just a little over 100.
Yeah,
between the 4 of us.
You forgot somebody. He'll be back, but he had a phone call.
Well,
We're getting
but if you're talking about
Bates over a quarter of a century. I know he's got quite a bit. So, guys, you can join us here on the current schedule, which I want to bring up too. I made a couple of changes. My current schedule is now being modified because of an expected rush in business change in my lifestyle. I'm giving you guys the benefit of enough time to do the research, come up with the scripting, come up with the ideas and the discussion to help make trucking great again. I value your input. And to do it, I do it very efficiently and very well. Once a week, I think we're getting a better turnout on Saturdays than we are on Wednesdays. So I've decided to change and do a Saturday show for Frontlines on 7 o'clock on Saturday. I'm going to do away with the Wednesday show because there's not a whole lot of traffic coming in on Wednesdays. So I welcome you each and every week at 7 o'clock having this show and having fun. I will host shows at times when I have time to do it under the name of Journal. I welcome your input there as well. But the other thing to know about too is I am no longer doing any streaming on Facebook. I'm not getting any feedback. I'm not getting any answers. I'm not getting any views. I'm not getting any traction. So Facebook is not doing me any justice, nor is it doing you any justice. So from now on, if you want to see me contribute and be part of making trucking great again, you've got to do it here on That's Trucking, or not That's Trucking. God, am I back in time? Trucking City Media. I tell you, I'm thinking about old days. Yeah,
man, old age is a pain in the butt, ain't it?
Isn't it?
Hold on, Squeaky something to say.
What's that?
Squeaky had something to say.
Go ahead, Squeaky. He can't talk right now. He's laughing so hard. If you think this is fun, I got news for you guys. If you think this is fun, stick around for the after show because we're gonna have an entertaining after show. Yeah, you think this is fun? Wait till you hear Squeaky over here. He's only started spilling the beans just recently because we're gonna make him talk.
So, so I just realized something, boss man.
What was that?
We didn't do intros today because you got a
How
phone
can
call
we do
right
in-
away.
Well, yeah. I mean, how can we do intros when there's only like three people on the? Well, we started out with three people on the panel, and then Fate joined in. So we're a little short panel. So yeah. But thank you for pointing out my deficiencies.
People every week.
What was that, Squeaky?
It's the same people every week.
It's the same people every week. Well, it's not the same viewers every week. You keep squeaking like that, I'm going to have a whole new cast of audience next week.
Hey, Larry.
Anyway.
Larry, I remember when I got my first chest hair.
Hey, I know what he sounds like now.
What?
He's starting to sound like them darn chickens that he had, them squeaky chickens.
So
Missed
the brokers isn't the issue.
Yep.
And I'm trying to get back on the subject here.
Yeah.
The brokers issue. It's the way you handle your business doing stuff is the issue. If you want to sit there, if you don't want to take the blame for not using a tool that's supposed to benefit you, that's your own fault. Don't sit here and preach to me saying it's their fault because it isn't.
I'm going to cross up two questions I had because the number of questions I had is going to take too damn long to get through. But I'm going to cross the two of them together. I'm good at doing this. If transparency is such a key issue that everybody's bitching about, and we're all worried about our business, what specific measures would you guys in the audience, come on, comment, call, let me know, and those on the panel, would you guys propose to ensure that everybody gets what they have entitled to them, and we have a way of looking forward to making a better living out here? It's not just, as we have all agreed, all of us, it's not just about transparency. Who cares what the brokers make? I care what I make. I care what is available to me. I don't care about everybody else. I care about me. And when I can't support my family, that hits home. We've got a holiday season coming up. We've got a boom of business coming up between now and probably the second week of January when it's going to drop off. Historically, it always does. So what do we do with that? What do you think? And tell me in the audience, what do you think is best to help us get where we want to be? We want to make trucking great again. We want to ensure the business we get is fair and honest. And we want to treat the people we deal with the most, the brokers, some of them, not all of them, the shippers and receivers. We want to give them the idea they can trust us, but at the same time, at the end of the day, we want to provide a living that we know at the end of the day is going to provide for our families, and we'll still be here tomorrow. So let's hear from you in the audience. Let's hear from you on the panel. Grumpy, what say you?
It's all about the factor that everybody needs money around here nowadays, and as much as you can make of it is wonderful. But the more you make, the more it takes out somewhere somehow. You got more in bills, you got more expenses, with car payments, electric, everything's just going up so much. Every time you wind up making more, you're really not. So, it doesn't really matter how much this one makes, that one makes. If you're not satisfied with it, then there's not a whole lot you can do about it because you can't pull money out of thin air. And I sure don't have a tree out here I can pull $100 bills off of.
No, exactly. Yeah. Somebody talking nut in the truck engine cylinder. Not sure where to go with that one, but that might be a reply to somebody else.
You got to be crazy
Anyway,
to be behind the wheel on one of these things. Simple as that.
yeah, that could be where he's going with that. I'm trying to give
Very
credit where credit is
possible.
due. If you guys in the audience want to comment, don't be afraid to speak. Speak your mind. You know, thinking about ways to make trucking great again. I've taken a few moments and brought into the conversation myself a few items I think will help us. Um, such as, let's refocus regulations on freight fraud instead of broker transparency. I said it earlier. I think I said it quite eloquently. You know, we've got more important things to worry about than what a broker makes before we make anything. Okay. Critics argue that broker transparency, while it's important, it doesn't address the fraud that is so rampant in the industry. Okay. Or capacity issues. Think about it. If half the time you got half the people on one side of the argument that say we have too many trucks, then you've got just as many people on the other side of the argument that say we don't have enough. Okay. Let's straighten it out by clearing up some regulations that actually give us an accurate number. Get rid of the fraud, get rid of the crybabies out here that are just doing nothing but take, and they're not giving us. Okay. We need to encourage the FMCSA to prioritize these issues and broader challenges like tightening the anti-fraud measures that are currently in Congress and looking to go through, and get rid of the carriers that currently sit out there making us look bad. Who disagrees with that? I think that is a number one step and way to help make trucking great again. I have one person in the comments leaves us 2025 will be better when energy fuel prices decrease, my opinion, with the new administration. Yes. I also hope they put this stuff I just mentioned on their docket as well. This would certainly go a long way. Broker transparency we don't need. But if they refocus their efforts on fraud with both the brokers and the carriers that currently exist that do nothing but make us look bad, I think that'll go a long way to solving a lot of problems. Instead of depending on the larger carriers, I've got videos, by the way, where I talk about the mega carriers and some of the. Go check them out. If you're not already subscribed, like my channel, go down and look at some of the videos that I've produced. I'm not just sitting here whistling Dixie. I actually do think these things through, produce videos to help you see a different point of view. But let's think about it. Small carriers and us independent guys, I think we need to be elevated a little bit. I think we need to be given a little bit more credit. Here recently, Broker 411, Freight, Guard, and all that kind of stuff, that's coming down. And it's making things real hard on us. Okay. And with these rules being in place, we stand a harder chance of actually getting ahead in the game. Smaller carriers gain the tools to compete with larger fleets and brokers on equal footing if things are done to elevate smaller carriers and owner operators. Opponents worry over regulation that might drive costs up, but these rules can protect small businesses and people like us from exploitation. So there's a double-edged sword there. But I think we need to be given a little bit more attention, a little bit more clarity. Anybody disagree with that? I think that would also go a long way to helping us out too. Bumper, see you shaking your head.
Oh no, I don't see anything wrong with that, but
No.
I mean honestly, the reason why we have so many regulations is because people keep screwing it up. I mean, as simple as that.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I mean, that goes for the broker side, that goes for and the driver side. You get out here, people just going out, getting their CDLs, getting into accidents, doing this and doing that. And if you sit and look what the industry was 10, 20 years ago to what it is now, it's completely different.
Yep. Shannon Trucking says the biggest issue is the point of entry for the CDLA. This is where we need regulation improvements and enforcements. Amen. Good topic. I'll tell you honestly, I've been watching a lot of videos where it's not just here in the U.S. This problem is rampant between 3 different countries, Mexico on one side, Canada on the other, and we're smack dab in the middle of it. Okay. And our government is embracing the very idea that this goes on and they're not really enforcing the needed requirements to get people that don't need to be in here out. So, as you said in that earlier comment, Shannon, 2025 will look hopefully to straighten some of these problems out. I look forward to some of that happening.
Correct me if I'm wrong, boss man, but the problem is the government hasn't really had a hand in who gets a CDL. It's a state thing. So each state is the one that hands out the CDL if you pass, basically. So that's where we're going all cuckoo crazy is certain states, I won't go into detail, but certain states have allowed this to happen because they felt, oh, it's going to bring revenue into our state. It's going to help our state. But in all actuality, somewhat it's not, other than because if you're not registering the vehicles in that state, they're not making really anything off of it.
No. And you know, I mean, that goes a long way. A lot of things need to be improved and dealt with on a different level. I mean, if that's a basic start, that is a step up in the right direction. I mean,
Well,
you know, when you have unlicensed drivers to one degree, and then you have drivers that don't speak the language trying to enable themselves to do a job, that creates a dangerous environment. So
yeah,
you can't begin to even factor in how to improve a problem so diverse, you know.
Well, I mean, and you know, as midlife says, you want more regulate? No. Basically, if we have one particular thing that's basically approving that over basically who gets a CDL and who don't, instead of each individual 50 states, that might help somewhat. Now, I'm not saying they take the reins totally. I'm just saying that that's where they need to, you know, kind of step in and do an overlook and oversee and say, okay, this person's had this issue, that person's had this issue. I don't think they don't need a CDL kind of thing, because I mean, it's a mess right now. It really is.
It is, and it really does need to get cleaned up. So, Thumper, let's say.
Okay, couple things here. One is to the CDL. The CDL school, they pretty much give you every need to pass, and they send you out on the road. Simple as that. That's all I really got to say about that. The other thing is, actually, thank you. You just highlighted it, was that comment right there.
Yeah. Does anyone remember that there are more owner-operator drivers and carriers than mega carriers? Please stop acting like megas are the majority, because they're not. We are, but we cannot join together. Well, I think she was going to go on together with the point that I was just about to raise. Thank you for Shannon Thomas Trucking for highlighting that for me. Unity. That is going to be our strongest asset moving forward. If we as an industry are divided on what we need to do and what the industry means to us, we'll get nowhere. Okay? We are in greater numbers. There are 85 to 15% spread. Okay? 85% of the industry comprises of people with less than 100 trucks. Okay? A slightly smaller number are less than 10 trucks. But despite what she said, and to more home deliver at home, a large percentage of people in today's industry are single independent businesses. They're not the big mega carriers everybody says they are. So when you have divisions between carriers and people in the industry like ourselves, that's going on, weakening the industry, it's really going to go a long way to staving off when and how things happen. All right. Critics of transparency fear that overregulation will stifle operations and bring everything to a halt. I say no. I say that be BS. What will stifle and everything is if we as an industry fail to unify and come together and realize we have more strength in numbers than they do. We owe it to ourselves to kind of give ourselves a dialogue of our own between everybody involved. Brokers, truckers, everybody together, if we work together to realize that there's a better tomorrow, we stand a better chance of making trucking great
And
again.
I totally
Go ahead.
agree with you on that. Oh, sorry, Thumper. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, we've had this discussion before.
Yep.
We really have. We've had this it's like 2 months ago or something like that. But like the thing is yes, owner operators are a majority, but we don't have the money to put in people's pockets like the mega carriers do. That's why
We
they
shouldn't
get
have
away
to.
with a lot more.
We shouldn't have to. You know,
No,
at the end of the day, everything
shouldn't.
at the end of the day, everything we do, Thumper, it should be reputation based. Look back on some of my videos. Okay? Reputation
no,
is everything.
I understand that, but you got to face the reality. We don't have the money. They have money, so they can get away with a lot more stuff. Say, hey, we need to make this rule, or hey, we need to do this. It is. I agree with you. Don't get me wrong, but I'm pointing out the reality.
Yeah.
So that's just how it is. We don't have the money to pay for lawyers and this to do whatever. Where they have how many trucks, and they're bringing in all that revenue. They don't pay for insurance. We have to pay for insurance because we're a smaller one. They just pay everything out of pocket for their insurance. That's how their insurance works.
Yep.
And it's just it's two totally opposite sides of the world. It's simple as this. We're the United States citizens. They're the government. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. And it should work one way, but it doesn't. Historically, when has it ever worked that way? So, you know, on to bigger and better pastures.
Well,
I say, in every sense, we need to work together. And that simply starts with us realizing we're not the only ones in this industry. Last word to you, Grumpy. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say to this is the factor of what we've got all these drivers nowadays. Most of them are mega carriers. There are a lot of owner ops out here still, but you know, just like in the past, when trucking was really great, it was never just like you were saying, boss man. Everybody was coming together. We all socialized some way, somehow, so we could share our opinions and get it out there. And things worked a lot better back then, I believe. I never heard really any complaints like you do now. I mean,
No. Of course. Yeah. I mean, it's hello, music. We're going to work or we're not. You know, technology really sucks. Have you figured that out with tonight? It really does. It's really giving me a red ass tonight. I'm really getting pissed. Anyway, I mean, Grumpy, I agree with you. I mean, we need to clearly figure out in our mind what the priorities are. You know, the sooner we figure that out, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Any better? Anyway, I mean, as soon as we figure out the priorities in place and we figure out ways to move through those priorities, I think this industry will be a lot better. This is one of those I don't think we need to really focus on too much. I don't know if the music's doing the same thing to you it is to me, but it's cutting in and
I
out.
still hear the music.
Yeah. Um, that being said, I mean, before this entire show goes to hell, I'm just gonna wrap it up. Say, join us next week at 7 o'clock. We will be here bringing you guys what I think is the best news of the week, the best opinion going strong. And unless anybody else got something else to add, I want to pass it to something.
Well, I mean, awesome show. Had a lot of fun. Everything else. One thing I do want to say: Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas, however you want to say it. Um, it's that time of year. I mean, I'm trying to do my holiday cheer. I've been trying to help some people out here and there, and just be kind to another. Try to make everything good again. Be kind to one another.
Yep.
God bless everybody in the United States, EMT, firefighters, everybody like that. We don't do it just for us and our families. We do it for you guys.
Amen to that. That's how you do it. You do it every day, every week, Definitely. That's how you do it. We do this because it fits the mold. It is a pleasure bringing you show week after week that help you sort out good from the bad. We do this, just like Thumper said, because we enjoy giving you the truth in broadcasting. Go down below, become a subscriber, like this show. Check out everybody here. Driving with John, Fate, Midlife, Grumpy, Larry, Thumper, all of them. We bring this to you to help you make trucking great again. Till next week at 7 o'clock, we are thinking of you. We are reminding you that it's trucks